This is the profit from a long position, then more profit from entering another long position, the same with Bitget. And here's another one on Binance. So when I calculated everything, there was over $400,000 in profit since last broadcast. During the last live broadcast, right before the new all-time high, I was actively looking for a short position somewhere in the market. I eventually cut my losses at around $20,000 and then decided to end the broadcast. As it turned out, that moment was around the peak we had been anticipating. I said that even if it goes higher, I won't chase and buy long positions. So I said I would buy long when it falls, but I'll wait until I can count it properly. I won't buy longs now. It was very simple. After that, it broke through the new all-time high, but soon after, it fell like this. So the entry point I took was, as I said, I would take long positions every time it falls. So initially, it fell here in an ABC pattern, then A appeared, B appeared, and as the C wave ended, it returned to the ABC pattern. It looked like a bullish divergence would appear here. You can't enter in advance here, because it's hard to predict that the wave C would fall this short. Usually, when there's an additional drop and it breaks through the previous tail, a crash occurs, and even if there's a rebound, it hits resistance at this point and falls again. But instead of that pattern, I saw it breaking through this line and rising, so I thought, if it falls, I should buy long here. Then it will go up at least to this point, and I should set my stop loss line here. It caught my eye, and I saw ABC, and at the top of the first resistance zone, this is the part where I take half profit. And I thought the other half might possibly break through the new all-time high. But as expected, instead of making new highs, it moved in the direction of making new lows, and at this point, it seemed like it was falling. But looking here, I thought it might be forming a double bottom in an ABC pattern and rising, but then it collapsed again, so I figured there wouldn't be a double bottom. Normally, the standard move would be to cut losses here, but I exited here at this time. I kept thinking I should enter long positions every time it falls. It's been a constant thought in my mind. I entered another long position around this point, but it kept falling, so I cut my losses by a small amount. Then when it rebounded again, I thought, this could be a double divergence, like this and like this. You can check the 30-minute and 15-minute charts. So I enter another long position, and it fell again, but even then it showed signs of support. The price fell, but the RSI indicator rose, suggesting some underlying strength despite the overall decline. It's a bullish divergence here. Then if you look at 15-minute chart, there's a double divergence here. From here to here, the price is falling, but from here to here, RSI is rising from below. So I thought, this is an opportunity, I should put more money in. These parts were traded only on OKX. Here, I additionally entered long positions on both Bitget and Binance. My rule is to take half profit at the top of the first resistance zone. So I put an order here taking half profit and went to sleep for the night. It confirmed, and upon coming up, then it was converging here again. And then today, after I came back from exercising, this pattern looked like an impulse. So I thought I could take all profits here, and I did. I was really debating whether to go into short here or not. I decided to only take long positions during dips since we're in a bull market, but then I thought this is clearly a short opportunity as an impulse is visible and the 15-minute chart shows a decline, so I only took a small short position on OKX here. So, if I show you the transaction history, this is the profit from taking a long position, then going long again. I cut a small loss here. Then this is another profit from entering a long position, the same with Bitget, making profit from a long position, and on Binance, entering a long position and making profit, so when I calculated everything, there was over $400,000 in profit since last broadcast. And now I've entered a short position as a quick trade just to take profit right before the 0.618 level, and if this also closes with profit. I think there will be an additional profit of about $40,000. Q, why do you trade through multiple exchanges? It's not easy to hold 400 or 300 bitcoins on a single exchange. Using a new exchange is inconvenient. It's difficult to enter and exit positions all at once. So the reason is that even if I cut losses, throwing 300 or 400 bitcoins, it can cause squeezing, leading to significant slippage and bigger losses. Even with short-term trades or when exiting positions, getting good execution is difficult. That's why I use multiple exchanges. Next, looking at the short-term picture, this looks quite impulsive up to this point. However, the time frame is simply too short to be considered fully reliable for drawing definitive conclusions. Anyway, from the 0.618 zone, taking profit from short position, if we see wave A, then B, then C forming like this, I'm planning to enter a long position around here. But what you need to be careful about is that the stop loss line is very far away, right? Even with just 10 times leverage, you'd face a huge 30% loss of your principal. Therefore, when entering here, you shouldn't mindlessly go long when it hits 0.618. Instead, count carefully, set a tight stop loss. It won't be here but somewhere in the ABC pattern, maybe at 0.618 or 0.5, and I plan to enter with a tight stop loss in that zone. If you enter here and an impulse forms, there's a possibility of breaking the previous high. On the contrary, what's concerning is that it has risen from a low point of around $70,000 until recently. And it hit a new high? It appears to be an impulse, but honestly, counting and keeping track of everything is not an easy task right now. You could count as irregular. For example, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4 with running flat, and 5 has appeared, but only up to here. But this is how ABC comes out. As a running flat or extended flat, then the concept of an ABC makes sense. Then we should see this where it falls as an impulse. So, this implies a downward movement, but this contradicts the analysis that suggests an upward movement after a correction. Looking at the long-term count, it seems mostly correct, but the bullish short-term makes things tough. So right now, although the long-term and short-term analyses conflict, I'm confident in the upward trend, so I'm thinking of going with a strategy of taking long positions on every dip.